Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. 2026 is here. And a year ago this month, Blessed Geza, Runesu, and three of his comrades best on the political scene in Zimbabwe exploded, if you want, to start what he called the Geza Revolution. A year later, I think many people would agree that the explosion was more like a firecracker. Tonight, we'd like to talk about that. I would like to set the scene and start with a scene in the Bible. I know many Zimbabweans are Christians, and they're familiar with the story of David, King David. I particularly like this scene because this is the point where Samuel realizes David and his potential. I'll just play a short clip of it. It's from the movie The House of David.
Who are you?
I am Samuel, prophet of the Most High. Look at me, son of Jesse.
No, I came expecting a great warrior. And yet God does not see what man sees. Man sees the outward appearance. God looks into the heart. David, son of Jesse, simple shepherd. When this day is through, you will be something entirely new.
I think for ordinary mortals, we only see the outward appearance, and we pick our leaders on the basis of what we can see. But sometimes we have the opportunity to see who those people really are, if we only bother to look at their history, their background. We cannot pretend that leaders like Mnangagwa, Robert Mugabe, Chiwenga, Geza, and so on and so forth, Nelson Chamisa, Morgan Trangirai, we did not know them. Because most of them, we have accumulated enough knowledge to know who they are. And like I said, we'd like to focus this on the discussion of why did the Geza revolution fail to take off? Ben, welcome to the program.
Good day to you and good day to our viewers. Thank you for joining us. The Geza revolution. It started, with a bang. Everybody was running with the story. I mean, this was big because this was Zanu PF, in fighting. And it had shown that there were cracks within their so-called strong system. And people were wanting to know how this was going to pan out. So from there, I think, people were very, very excited to find out what's the end result, where's this thing going. But within that, excitement and commotion, I think there were a few level-headed people in, Zimbabwe that managed to stop, look, listen, and learn. And that is the problem with, most of our people. That is the problem with the mob. They never stop to look, listen, and learn. They are quick to make rash decisions, take sides, give a verdict, and so forth. But like I said, there were a few people that said, hold on a minute, what exactly is this guy talking about? And then when you start playing over the videos and having an open mind, that's when, you say, hold on a minute. This guy is not really talking about our freedom. This guy is wanting that top position for himself. He wants, and exactly what he says is, he also wants those big cars. He wants a motorcade as well. And then, when that clicked to the level-headed, it clearly showed it was never about Zimbabwe. And the good thing is, the message was hammered home to those that could not see. The message was hammered home before people risked their lives and livelihoods to join a battle that wasn't theirs. That is how I would interpret the Geza revolution. Started big because we know, the mob is always, and that video that you played at the beginning, that is the truth. We look at the outward, the very immediate, and we run with it. And we don't dig deeper to see why, how. And then that's when we get the true answers.
Well, let's listen to Geza himself give a summary of what he thinks this revolution was all about.
Zimbabwe. Ni Blessed Geza, Comrade Bombshell. Muri Zimbabwe ndinogamuchira mufaro dzokutanga ndoda kutendai zvikuru nebasa ramakaita mugore ra2025. Pakaitwa maachievements mahombe. Achievement hombe raakwanisa kuachivha, takabatana pamwe chete nepobwe yeZimbabwe inyaya yekuti takamisa 2030 vachida vasingadi 2030 takaimisa, right? Saka mhuri yeZimbabwe tinokutendai, ngatirambe takabatana. Tava kupinda mugore ra2026. Gore ra2026 igore rekudzosera masimba evanhu kuvanhu. Saka gore ra26 pane maprogramu akawanda atakaronga ekuti power idzoke, tobvisa vanhu vedu musungwa, right, wejob raMnangagwa nezvitaranda zvake. Saka
This raises an important issue here. As much as people would agree that when Geza and his three comrades, based on the political scene, and called the Mnangagwa 2030 agenda bullshit, that gave people the confidence to denounce it. They were saying something that many people out there wanted to say, but didn't have the courage to say it. So that point is taken. Why did it fail to take off? Why was it a lead balloon that never took off and could never take off? The reason why that was the case is because these people, our friend Geza and his colleagues, who are now saying we want to give power to the people, said the same thing during the fight for independence. And when the country did finally gain its independence, they never gave the people the power. 45 years is a long time for one to deny the people their fundamental rights. And when you look at the way Zanu PF denied the people their fundamental rights, you realize this was not just an accident. This was a calculated thing. This was a systematic and calculated move on the part of Zanu PF. The people have to learn to differentiate between heroes and mercenaries. Heroes fight for a cause. Mercenaries may use the cause as a smokescreen to push their own selfish agenda. The people of Zimbabwe cannot deny that Zanu PF has never committed itself to giving the people their fundamental rights and freedoms. Yes, they use that as a smokescreen to mobilize the people to fight for independence. But before the country could even cast their first vote in 1980, the guys had decided they were going to take over and deny the people their fundamental rights. This is what happened, and we cannot deny it. And I believe the reason why the Geza revolution never took off was because the people knew who Geza, Chiwenga, Mnangagwa, Mugabe, and the whole Zanu PF regime were. These were thugs. They were only pretending to care when it suits them, but will abandon that ASAP. The people were not fooled by Geza's sentiment that he wanted to remove the Zanu PF, the Mnangagwa dictatorship, because they could see he was also queuing up to replace Mnangagwa with another dictator. We cannot claim that we did not see it because we have seen it, we have known it. All these years we have known Zanu PF to be thugs, vote-rigging thugs. And to keep on pretending somehow they will change would have been very naive. Very naive indeed.
One did not need to actually go back all the way to 1980 to know what Geza and company are all about. One had to just listen to the first interview and know that it was nothing about free, fair, and credible elections. There was nothing about the people's choice. It was a done deal. And I think, and I should say well done to the people of Zimbabwe for realizing this. And those that managed to correct others, well done. Otherwise, we would have seen the same mistake happen that happened in 2018 or 2017 when we replaced Mugabe with Mnangagwa. It was their choice. It was Geza and company that put him there. And they felt that they can put anybody there and replace him and so forth. And we would be just there to make up the numbers. And that, for me, was the turning point for the Geza revolution. And that was basically about it.
Well, the other interesting development here is what also happened in the opposition camp. 2023, millions of people were conned by Chamisa to participate in those flawed elections because they believed Chamisa when he told them that he had plugged all the vote rigging loopholes and Triple C was going to win big. I would like to believe that people have learned their lesson from that. I'd like to play this video clip of Chamisa making that promise because it is an important historic fact.
Makorokoto Zimbabwe nokuti hakuna munhu anomira kana denga raronga plan. Denga raronga plan, denga harifo iri. Plan ya Mwari haifo iri. Ini ndatanga kugadzira cabinet. There is no way we are not going to form a new cabinet. There is no way we are not going to have a celebration. There is no way we are not going to have an inauguration. Let's start preparing for our inauguration. Let's start preparing for our celebration.
The challenge to the people of Zimbabwe when it comes to the opposition is that we don't have to have the insight of God to see what Chamisa and his MDC friends would become. we have had 25 years of these individuals in positions of power and authority to now know that they are corrupt, incompetent, liars, and conmen. This is the reality. Right now, we are preparing for 2028 elections. And Chamisa is already gearing to con the people to participate in those flawed elections and give Zanu PF legitimacy. The big question is, have we learned the lesson? Ben, do you want to give your closing remarks?
I think here lies the biggest challenge, because we still find that a lot of people believe Chamisa is the answer and is the only answer. And they have taken the task upon themselves to defend him at all costs, even though you can even show them all the amount of evidence that shows that Chamisa is truly a conman. They will not have it. So I think here is the battle, because Chamisa, like you said, is going to come up. He's already promised that 2026 is the year that he's going to do it. So we have to warn the people that, hey, remember what this guy has done and what this guy is capable. He will lie to you and take a sabbatical about it. So it is now up to the people to accept that as acceptable, or to finally bring him to task, to say, hey, hold on a minute. You lied to us and you left us there in the mud. Where are the answers? Where are the promises?
Thank you very much, Ben. I'd like to remind the listeners out there that you can join us on this platform on Saturdays or Sundays, 6 o'clock UK time, 8 o'clock Zimbabwean time. And the link was shown on the bottom of your screen. It's being shown on your bottom of your screen right now. And we use the same link all the Saturdays and Sundays. So you're welcome to join us. I just want to conclude this with a video clip, a recent one, of Chamisa addressing some of his followers. My apologies. This is the one I want.
Kurukuya chapati. Chapati chinosumuka chichibva pasi, tiri kuronga chapati. Ende hachimisike kana uri ani, chapati chinokupratisa. Kurukuya chapati. Kurukuya chapati. Chapati chinosumuka chichibva pasi, tiri kuronga chapati. Ende hachimisike kana uri ani, chapati chinokupratisa.
Well. Sometimes in history, those who do not learn from the past are always invariably going to repeat the same mistakes over and over again. Chamisa is gearing to tell the people that this time he is going to win 2028. Con them to participate in those flawed elections and give Zanu PF legitimacy and perpetuate the dictatorship. We really have to stand up and stop him. There are people out there who are finding it very difficult to learn from the past. And he's taking advantage of those people. One of the tragedies of Zimbabwe is that we had universal suffrage. We gave the vote to people who don't even understand what their responsibility is when you have the vote. And because of that, we found ourselves in a situation where many of our Zimbabweans are gullible, ignorant, and naive, and they are easily conned. Zimbabwe has had 45 years of independence and 45 years of rigged elections. This is an outrage. We cannot allow it to continue. And yet, if Chamisa is allowed to con his followers in their millions again, he will give Zanu PF legitimacy. And we will have yet another rigged election and drag the nation deeper and deeper into the political, economic, and social abyss. We do not need the insight of God to know what is inside the vessel. We know who Chamisa is. Chamisa is a liar. He is a conman. He is corrupt. He is incompetent. He is not a demigod who can do no wrong. We just need the common sense to apply that knowledge. I seriously hope that 2026 will be the year when more and more people will open their eyes and their minds and see leaders like Chamisa, Blessed Geza, Chiwenga, Mnangagwa, for who they really are, and not to be easily conned into believing their idiotic lies and be conned to participate in flawed elections only to perpetuate the nation's suffering. We owe it to ourselves, to our children, and posterity to put an end to the madness of rigged elections. Thank you very much, those who were able to join us tonight, and I hope you'll be able to join us tomorrow particularly, and join us on the platform if you can. Good night.